Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so Avenue suspension trucks, we're done. It's the end of it. Welcome to my video. Today I'll be talking about skateboard technology as an overview, as well as my setup, and some little things I've learned along the way. So if you've seen my past couple of videos, I've talked about different innovations that have come into skateboarding. I've talked about rubber grip tape, I've talked about wide toe shoes, but today I want to talk about trucks. And the reason for this is because my setup right now has been perfect. I really like it. I have rubber grip tape, I have a very custom design, I have a Santa Cruz deck, and I have half a truck. What's going on here? So this is the Avenue suspension truck. It's the only truck on the market today that's supposed to catch all impact, reduce speed wobble, and increase your pop when it comes to skateboarding. However, I went street skating yesterday and this broke on me. But for context, I've had these trucks for like 4 years now, and I really like them. What I loved about them is that they basically feel like a loose truck with control, and that's kind of weird to say, but it's very interesting how this floating base plate here really allows you to really just cruise while you're riding down the street, or just gain a lot of pop when you're doing all different kinds of tricks. Now, my issue is that not only did it break on me, but this is actually my second pair I've had that's broken. And here's the thing. I realized that the tension that it broke in was in this area right here, and that's actually where it popped off from. And the funny thing is that, like, I don't weigh a lot. I probably weigh like 135 pounds muscle mass wise, but like I'm really surprised that this broke on me. So I just want to talk about Avenue and different gimmicks when we talk about skateboarding. Mostly when it comes to skateboarding, people talk about gimmicks like it's this quick twitch, money-making thing where you're going to make this innovative product to help skateboarding, but it doesn't really actually make sense. And so there's a lot of different waves of it that's come through the 80s, 90s, and even earlier back in the 70s. Now, when I heard about Avenue trucks, I saw various videos on YouTube talking about it, so I thought there were a lot of pros and cons to these trucks, but I was very curious to try it out for myself and kind of give like a full opinion about it. At first, I was pretty hyped on the trucks when it came to the usability of them. The only thing I realized that I didn't like about these trucks is that when you are actually pumping in like a bowl that's probably like 7 or 8 foot or even taller, I find that when you pump is that it actually takes away from your speed. So that's the only thing I don't like about these trucks when it comes to skating huge bowls. But when it comes to jumping over big things or riding down a really big hill, I did feel like I did have a little bit more control, and that I didn't feel the speed wobbles that you would get used to if your trucks were loosened, or maybe if they were tight but they had maybe like a softer bushing. So that's something that I think these trucks definitely helped with. I think what's interesting about these is that as a technical truck, there are some pros and cons to these. I find that when you're popping to get into your actual trick, that there is a little bit of recoil and bounce, and that's really because of the way that the base plate is designed. It has a little bit of a recoil here so that it compresses on impact when you jump over big things, but even small things too. You'll definitely feel it when you're grinding on something that's a low ledge or even a high ledge as well. You will feel a little bit of rebound, but that's just because of the way that the base plate has been designed. So overall, my experience with the truck has been pretty fun. I really liked it. I'm just really sad that it broke on me. I was gonna ride these trucks till basically they broke, and that's pretty much what they happened. So that's what this truck basically looks like in that sense. So this upper part here is magnesium, whereas this is like a steel alloy or something like that on the bottom. Now this is originally what the base plate does look like. Now, I don't know if you can see it there on camera, but you can see a very tiny crack there. And this is actually from my first pair of trucks. And that's basically what got destroyed on my second pair of trucks. So it's possible that wherever there's stress marks in the actual truck itself, when it compresses, that there are these little pinpoints that it will crack. So it is a thing too. I've had these trucks for like 3-4 years now, and like I really had no issues. I didn't think that would be such a thing that I would have to look out for when it came to this truck. So I'm really surprised that that actually happened. But I think I really enjoyed the ride. It was really fun to be able to skate with them, but I'm probably just gonna move on to indies. What I did realize with the way that this truck actually sits, and after watching tons of videos from Ben DeGrow talking about trucks, wheelbases, and how setups work, I realized that the way that these are set up, they kind of feel like an indie in the sense of where the hanger sits in relation to the nuts here. It's a little bit further back on the model than further front. I find that trucks like Thunder or Slappy a little bit set the hanger forward as opposed to more in the center. So for me, when I measured this from the hanger to hanger, I realized the wheelbase was about 14.1 give or take. So I think my ideal size is actually like a 14-inch wheelbase with trucks that are more centered. And I realized that after comparing Thunders, Indies, Slappers, and Ventures, that Indies for me are probably a good replacement for this, which means I'm probably just going to be an Indie person for life. Now, when it comes to this actual board, I really like this. This is actually the Santa Cruz VX board, the Mario McCoy model, and I really liked it because of the graphic. And what's really great about this is that not only is it very strong, but it's also very durable. I do find that it does start to splinter if you're skating huge like sets and the board just keeps hitting the edge, but it doesn't splinter off in completely different directions. Like, it's okay here, but what I've been doing recently is I actually will sand down the edge of the board and then smooth it out so that it's able to still have that pop. But it's so firm, and even for being just like a regular like deck, it's only 5 plies, but it's super strong. So like whatever epoxy glues that they're using, kudos to them, because definitely Santa Cruz has figured out a way to make a deck that's lighter but also keeps its pop over time. I'm definitely going to keep skating this deck, but I think this is an example of something that we could have in skateboarding as like a standard. However, I do think that this issue of having razor tail or just having damage on the nose and tail could be changed, and this is where I want to introduce something very special. So over the years, I've kept up with different brands and looked for different innovations in skateboarding. Now, I came across something years ago in my younger days that I never thought I really had access to until I found them on Instagram. So this is the 4-tip technology system. So basically, this is a skateboard deck that has a replaceable tip on the edge, and it allows you to replace this when you have razor tail. Now, what's amazing about this is that they are from Sweden, but they actually have most of the manufacturing now in Brazil, and that's mainly where they sell these boards basically. So I reached out to these guys on Instagram. I was like, hey, like, I'm really interested in these boards, could you be able to send me one? And so they're able to get me one. So I shipped to my friend's place, and now I have it here today. So I just wanted to show you this deck primarily. Now, as you see in my other videos, I do skate with rubber grip tape. So right now, what I've done is I've actually made an outline of rubber grip tape. And what I'm going to do eventually is that I'm going to make a design for the center part and customize it for myself. But I'm really excited to be able to show you guys this, because this is a very unique innovation that I don't think a lot of people have heard about. Maybe in the early 2000s, some people have at trade shows, but I feel like this is a very unique product that I think could work for skateboarding, because when you think about it, the one thing that always affects people in skating is their pop, especially the edge of the board, because once this edge is literally gone, like, it's over. Like, your board is not going to pop in the same way that it does for a regular deck. So having something that is actually replaceable is actually a very innovative idea. I just wish that this is something that maybe came out more recently, but I think it's good that it came out in the past and now it's still relevant. I'm only recently learning that skateboarding in Brazil is like the second most popular sport after soccer. So to see that this company is focusing their market over there shows to me that even though they tried to market this in the US and possibly in Europe, that they just weren't ready for it yet. And maybe it's just because people are just used to having like a traditional maple skateboard and no bells and whistles. But now that we have brands like Santa Cruz and Powell and other companies that are trying to make decks that are lighter and stronger, I think it's time for skateboard innovation to kind of like rise to the occasion basically and make something that's completely different. Now, this is definitely completely different. I mean, it's not new. It's been around for at least 10 plus years. It's just been under the radar, kind of like in the background. But I think this is a very unique example of what we could have in skateboarding today. So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. I'm going to customize this board for myself, and eventually I'll show you what it looks like on Instagram and possibly come up with a review for it. But I definitely just want to talk about all those different things, because once this truck broke on me, I realized, okay, let's talk about everything in between. So that's all I want to talk about. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day.